Right. So this is the second clip of our first chapter, that is Cold War and the non-aligned movement. All right. Dine ngaju kaza chapter the clip thangbo delia. Ngaju khari khari chisni kyo kyo we know we studied about the emergence of two power blocks. Power blocks ni di khandes chungre di chungdang shebe kap delia to thamuni la power blocks ni kharre. Power blocks ni di USA the USSR. Kuni ni power blocks ni di ani what led to the emergence of these two power blocks ani khandeslana we had to go back to the World War II, right? World War II kaptelia Allied forces the Axis forces ni nanglo ne kuni ngi jagi ne Allied forces la join chigi wa thabu gon join chigi me 1961 gi June la ani USA join chigi re dine dawa khashi chela December nanglo USSR join chigi wa chesa kuni ngi join chigi gi thone ani Allied forces kuni join chisa ve jela Allied forces bat kol shuk che cha che marje ni wadi kunju thopgre ine kuni thopgre de, but because of the so many differences between these two powers, especially in terms of ideology, we know we learned that there was a whole lot of competition between these two power blocks, whole lot of tensions and confrontations. So this which actually led to Cold War. Okay, we also talked about what actually is meant by Cold War, which simply means the competition and the tensions between these two power blocks supported by their own allies. The USA, the USSR, kuningi gila ming manda dige de ngazu kazan changsa jangsa wajerwa. And Cold War di chesa kuningi group chik wala yingi la ani yang kuningi para Cold War lango be gyumzen kare what caused tensions between these two power blocks. The thing was someone line but we talked about the difference in adulthood that one of the main reasons for was the difference in ideologies, because as we know that USA believed in democracy and capitalism, okay, where there's a whole lot of freedom to the individuals freedom is given the utmost importance out here, whereas socialism la wake up the equality la ani ke chezi ve thone ani kunju gi shung do imbarajina communism da ani economic ala imbarajina socialist adopt chikor slam bachi korang ni taru poro loga imbegi tumjel chikche tumjen di ki thone korang ni ja gi chigi taru di chigla yaga yusla che di khabe che di degi kalan korang ni paralia tension shukshim shusle res cherwa. Second, we talked about the post-war security. Then we also talked about the power rivalry between these two and the different policies that these two countries adopted so as to attract allies under them, because we learned that the more allies they have, the more powerful they are considered. Okay, so we talked about the alliance or USA bloc or USSR bloc, but then what is the reason for these countries to either join or enter these alliances? For which we said that the smaller countries, they joined the superpowers because they get protection in all means, especially from the stronger neighboring countries, and they also get economic aids as well as weapons and military aid. Then the superpowers join because they get different sort of different types of resources, especially oil. All right, and then they also get territory for launching weapons as well as for the usage for spying reasons. Besides that, they also get economic support because territory mangmi the chung yorwa and mangmi digegi and station shayo din zugi to join digeti the lungo allies kwanzo tangi do tinde chane economic support agores and tadu gi ngolo ngo jwe mo she and da na shingi ta tangi power yimba ba. The most alliance you have, the more powerful you are considered. Tu chiche kazang jugi ta tanda kyabjong de tu seda khaza dibo to changyorta. Ta so tiri ngo khalala ta alliance yorwa. So we said the princessina ngo jumbling korarwa because of the Cold War, the world actually sort of divided into two. It threatened the jumbling kor gangza kor thumbni le khero che de gi nyanga chimus kan le der kan first world, second world, third world line ba ta bya jira third world dige di power blocks ni nang lo la sida joyo mare ngo nam chi jail changai cherwa yine ta shimba dimengi jumbling kor ni la it like the Cold War threatened to divide the whole world into two power blocks, and that division I told you earlier that the division started from Europe. Okay, kaisana makjing niwa di ta Europe la chungruwa dine sonza ani power blocks ni dige thabu go 정블링 케드웨 주로 alliance join 체 디게 차상지 당고 고칸이 주스라나 유럽니 고주다 캔스도 맵 나를 시버디 유럽 기 맵레다 캔스와 타 유럽 기 맵 나 야고진 시다 세부 디게 스토아 디게 차상디 USA 기 블록레 okay dingi de langa ju kyans tempa sugi na last week de la di color de ngombu imba ta thande chal khonju gi lok de kyans lok nan tyo ro the color is yellow and it's sojo da la sivrajina mao digi of course you can see this is the USSR block okay ta tile abu thona chi aseu de la ine di gang la ya khartirs na seu de la USA block ma thiwa che khunju kharti cha de la dinang lo la ki nang lo la seu de la NATO members la dwa mao de la sia kyans ero sig dwa Warsaw Pact members okay ta NATO members ana khare Warsaw Pact members ana khare ta ding azu changayung khaisina ngaju gi ding alliance system jerwa lungba dinju changma penchashana rwa dinang lo lungba pe mangu dwa mau de na siwajna sia chuju de USSR and di chuju de la ta te shonga te chi ti machirang chi kes okay let me just all right against this year penchashana Poland West Germany Czechoslovakia di changma rwa Moscow kunju kun dige changma garsna Warsaw che din changma Warsaw Pact members USSR gi block war re to ta chujo de la seu dige changma France Britain ta de Ireland join chairman wa ta West Germany Italy Spain to dige changma de Norway dige chang Denmark din ju changma rwa ani su blocks na USSR gi block le so sorry kasa USA gi block la okay in kunjula khalosna NATO lagor ta dige sama ye alliances da thangi ngobu da chipu chikyan kala lo tang do ine alliances dige di ta lumba phazo alliances yor ta chambu chi kon group yorwa in a group di consultate kandes chira group di chambu thumbu chi toksa chigri swinge ro jorwa pa industry something that would bring them together okay di ani kandes kunju gi ani military pact to chini share yes wa deep pact dela ming manda ta chirwa pension USA gi pact dela ani NATO ki karsa pact legre ni USSR ka dela Warsaw pact so we'll do that in detail so as of now just remember that this yellow color is the USA alliances which were binded okay or which were consolidated through ani NATO pact and this part the red part that is the USSR block which was consolidated by the Warsaw Pact members okay so the consolidation through pacts ta tangi line ba consolidation through pacts da wake up delia ani kunju ta di nanglo la Quran jungi jambling ni jog thumbu kebe ta thungi it threatened to divide the whole world into two different blocks line ba so these blocks actually were consolidated through different pacts and pacts khande re so alliances la the alliances Quran ran nanglo le ya ta binding force to okay the binding force the pact the act so the la kap de la military kunju the mang chika military pact to re di ki thon khala gorsana ro pact di ki kunju la nyem dol tokza jikti chel pen to pen chashna pact di ki ani chi di ki wol ya an kunju changma mende ki si chik la nyip chu shena ani changma rugu chi je ya lang che tokza jiri thon ya lang che an dinde gi ani shemba nyip chu shengi lungba jorwa tela ya ani pa khapte cha ya oh di ki de la it's kind of like a military pact okay a pact which binds them together to counter any attack that any of its member faces okay tindi chigla ngajuta on the pact line gora dimang military pact ojre ta di nanglo ngaju ki sanda khari changoslana during the Cold War these were the few pacts that consolidated these two power alliances we have NATO Warsaw Pact CATO and CENTO ta NATO la wake up delia NATO the full form the pe jange khechim bortolo abbreviation is one word la lir ta kenswa cheza NATO lane now North Atlantic Treaty Organization lastwa the treaty the ani nyama di ari gi ta di USA gi reda ta tangi kyas tembo su dwa color seu de NATO thitwa cheza NATO di USA ki ani block ki thangbo delia the pact shange di thangbo di ari ran go chure it was started by United States so United States under the North Atlantic Treaty Organization they signed a treaty in 1949 April 1949 di kap delia lungba khaju gi join chisana lungba chungi gi join chere hence wa the lungba chungi nanglo ne ta kyan stangi I'm going back okay lungba dinang lo siwajna lungba chungi di che okay lungba di kap da kolba go chu da 19 tan da jo sewe kap de la kunju gi pack design gawe kap de ya ani tu Europe ki lungba chungi che ani shemba ro lungba ni di ani America chonir America chon USA de yimba che America koran che ro ani USA ta ani Canada so Canada the USA kuni ni lungba di ari gi che kasa di America gi choni che ro continent America kon chiba di mengi lungba chu dige chazan di ani khani resla wala china European lungba koran rani join che tu che go chu weka de ya they were 12 states okay when the treaty was signed in 1949 those chiche according to this treaty the military pact the treaty the ki kharla gostana this treaty made the alliance very strong okay kharchin strong res lawajna the as per this treaty it is said that an attack on any one of the members will be considered as an attack to the whole all the 12 states together okay dinde himbe ki sonza kisi lungba chigla again I'm going back okay ta desia the Britain France Spain didwa tang lungba chinji rojil chi gyap shinda let's say Norway okay ta kesi rwa Norway la lungba chigi ani Norway de lungba chigi attack chivre jina ta ko ta NATO member wa NATO khalos na Norway la attack chiga china di Norway la attack chiwa chigi mes di manju changma la attack chiwa chibe gi thone ani lungba su gi attack chiguna dela ani manju gi pha ta talin chigi slawor okay so an attack on any one of the 12 members will be considered as an attack to all the nations as such and then in that way they will retaliate la di pemisi strong chaswa so dinde ki chane ngazo dilam protection lamba kaza dingi alliances join chigu chik dumje khasna protection so di gi protection bet ko shukshin bo pe ragor di yago chine si darwa bongo sama chin kyangnyare chesam bencha chana west di dwa in France in the west germany chunju re dwa west germany la USA gi wang du sana chasare ko petop shu chimbudo inegi wang kharchin dugo masna case de lo wang duga chevraji invite chiga china an attack on West Germany will be considered as an attack on all the 12 nations and then they will retaliate of course this risu hanjli marwa so the same applies with all the nations kenswa dindegi chan NATO digi ani pat khoro lungba kunja alliance dige system dige la pe mesi strong sur dikabel kenswa diche ta bensin desia NATO dirwa ta dik NATO 1949 na tangi suwe kaptel ya ngazu lungbo chungi wa ta lungbo chungi tangi pena kyans de si wajin lungbo chungi master da chinji do redwa an tangi nge shuimba tina lungbo chu Europe na yore lungbo ni de kasna America na lol America khoran da United States da ani Canada diche ani du shimba dige changma ta te chang de do Estonia Latvia di dir da 1949 la ngombu dige tre dark color dige chasare dik abdullah France che Netherlands Luxembourg Belgium din dwa jel ani te 1952 la te small dor kenswa dine mangro member mangro chingcherwa thande chala 2000 thande chalarwa 2000 ke member si ade mount rodwa thande chal 2020 la an member khaju sana member sumju yorta NATO thande yorta NATO it still exists today and from 12 members it has now increased to 30 members and latest thing nitong nishula ani join chingi di thanda North Macedonia la elungba jorwa North Macedonia khrangi ani NATO la join chi thade chala NATO ki countries membership sumju che ani khrangi headquarters ti khorsana thanda Belgium gi Brussels la yor kenswa okay ta dinanglo la ani NATO di ta manju gi di relaimba it's a military arm or military pact lamba di military pact top shu pe chimbu sigor NATO di thanda pe shuk chimbu sigor sigo jumje khain sina nganju khasa di karsa jumbling nanglo liarwa thanda 5 permanent member states yorwa andi nanglo ne thanda nuclear power states kala khanjam jura di nanglo nuclear power state ki sum dagran yor kenswa ksudisana Britain France United States this is the nuclear weapon state so again that also makes this NATO a very strong group or alliance okay next one we have is the Warsaw Pact ta NATO du suche NATO 1949 la suwa ta NATO 1949 la suwe kaptelia ani Warsaw khazata NATO di suwe kapda khunzu gi pet kor strong shiu chimbu chadu lamsa USSR ki ngini yo nga we know that there's a whole lot of competition between these two ta khunzu di china ta takta korte sa mare samche ang Warsaw Pact ki sorry kasa United USSR okay Soviet Union krang ki ani member ge nyam do ya zomche an khunzu khar suerslana ta thanda Warsaw Pact suer okay the Warsaw Pact de la friendship da jik la ni ming ju shu te yorwa but thongobol kharla worsana ani di Warsaw Pact di the NATO la counter chechu du series la gor andi khadu su khada the 1955 la kon Poland la sign jadwa di kap de la sign gave kap de la at first there were 8 states okay state gear the NATO alliance di cherwa kyan te si do mao di ke chazan di the Warsaw reta ine di na kyan Warsaw na lo ine de si darwa lungba chikni sum shi nga thuk du ma shumar ta ngi kyan ge la swa di nang lo la the Albania sto wala Yugoslavia gi wal si Romania gi tam de Yugoslavia gi wala Albania do ani Albania di gi kunju gi kar shirsana 1956 la join chi in 1968 la ko ma thore withdraw chere henswa withdraw chibe ge thone ani jele 1968 ki jene shini member ta thanda chi nyu chinswa di jele ya ani Warsaw thanda yorwesana thanda yomar khaisna Warsaw di khadu dissolve chasna 1st July 1991 the USSR ka matur ngoni reta ka matur ngoni khorane ani Warsaw khanda mewa chare ta thande chala ngajo Warsaw yorwesana Warsaw yomare henswa diche ta thando Warsaw mewe kan leke kharin ji waslanarwa Warsaw nanglo la member mangbo shiu chigwa ani ta USSR jugla khathor ki 1991 Cold War 1991 for the line ba khaisana 1991 la USSR di khathor ki hence wa khathor cheni rumba that USSR khathor sa ve jela ta Cold War mewa chayurwa says USSR khathor sa ve ki jene after the dissolution of USSR those countries which were actually the members of Warsaw Pact, which were earlier the members of Warsaw Pact members, they joined NATO. Penacha Shanarwa, Tanda Albania, Tanda Thune, last one, 1968. Albania, di Tande Chalia, ani NATO ki member. Tagana Shingi, Tanda Bulgaria, de NATO ki Takans, de Bulgaria Tungudwa, Bulgaria, de NATO ki member. Tagana Shingi, Hungary, again, and the Hungary sigdwa chance Romania damdal Hungary dwa Romania khorange ani the NATO member 2004 join Romania che Hungary che the Bulgaria dige sangmaro 2004 la an kunju gi NATO join chirwa dagana shingi Poland de Poland to chashana 1999 la kunju NATO to chinne join chir so the backup the NATO khagas ki effective saw imedi chance the digaran seu petung dwa Warsaw Pact the flop chings wa kaisna ko USSR khamathor khoni koranta khathor sa ve jela ko kina yang ko ke je loga chirwa USSR khathor sa ve jela ani ko it doesn't make any sense yine ge thande cha delia USSR khamathor khoni nirwa ani Warsaw Pact khathor wa chibu mai khaso Warsaw Pact dissolve cha wa chibu mai bi gi Warsaw Pact ki members mangbu shiuji USSR dissolve cha sa vi jene kunju they became the members of NATO okay so all these Bulgaria Poland these are all right now the current members of NATO okay then we have tanda the Seattle the central gear right Seattle the central niche de su josna adig su jota ta kyanzo exec of the one marks level penis lelo kansina tanda bodole pact sumdwa pact sheet nanglo ne Warsaw chipu jimado shimba chazan adig su jore right ta yamena di tu chije lebana shaya chigir ti me gemena 222 la gostwa NATO Seattle central okay dige thanda two you very su juba chasang kora arik su so it's kind of like easy to remember in that way all right the Seattle rocha shawjna you can clearly see understand from the word itself the pact the alliances khari consolidate chigosana areas of Southeast Asia okay so as the pact itself as the abbreviation the full form of the abbreviation suggests that it's a Southeast Asian Treaty Organization so it's a organization it's a treaty of the Organization of Southeast Asian Nations for example if you see over here this is the Seattle member kireta tangzo ari di kyang cha yume gi kan de ari seube 통구도와 USA 도와 de the main ging ngzo chujo de the samadi da Seattle ari go chu ton Seattle members tigidre ta Seattle members dinju gi tandang ngzo khala ba Seattle member kunju gi focus chisa work course na Southeast Asian ta area didre kenswa dela kunjugi focus chigor kaisina this year to the center the go to go gyumjen karsina because Cold War gi para delia USSR di an kunjugi Asia da duala kunjugi yama kunjugi alliances khabia da kan kunjugi influence dirwa Asia da ani dinma khabgi kharetta khanjde they they were having doubts and they were sure that this USSR, the Soviet Union, they were trying to spread their influence over the Asian countries, and they were trying to gain, they were having political gains in Asian countries as well. So in order to stop that, they tried this pact. Okay, the pact wala they focused the South East Asian countries. Okay, so the so niwa delia kharsna ani Central Treaty Organization redwa delia Baghdad Treaty ke legre di ki wadela konjo mangche khwala focus chigos lawrna te the Middle East yana Central Asia di area dal konjo focus chigor kenso di chije ta ngju gi arms race ta dinan khala osna ta tinde gi pact ngju gi pact nanglo nen konju gi Quran gi alliances di ani toksa jidi nya ki tapshi stang dwa ta controversy di chi khare la gorsana rwa makche niwa di rwa ani jamche dirda ani USA gi Hiroshima ta Nagasaki la bomb yure at bomb yurwa bomb yube gi gyumje la teni ani ta khanda ta makche niwa dokchin chamche res la gor kenswa ta chamche re la gi yorte but then this throwing of bomb, okay, this dropping of bomb by United States on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it created a huge controversy. Nyokta chimbu huge lot. Nyokta chimbu lango wegi gyumjeng kharis lawarjina lungba mangche chigirwa tanda early la support chigin su khala osana di race bomb mayu rajina ani kaza ma di chamche ko yo mare. So it was necessary to throw the bombs so as to stop the war. Ineke nya USSR opposed chinge yorwa the opposed chinge critics dinchu khala osna mares bomb you goya ko yo mares kain sem khoju dite ka surrender cheres tas ari khala na Quran ju nuclear power di anita US la je twe chedul yorwa ani twe chedul ya kang chu ne ni konju gi ta yugyo res la ta dina gyap jon dam ra share the kain di kap de ya Soviet Union ki ani chashi di yapu mewaji ta khanda ari thokpa sa war kaza makjini wagi tsatsaski jel Quran treaty shisu dogo gorwa inege Soviet Union ki Quran gi ani anta influence di that crush huge ma khabe chi gi chashi di yo di ari gi ha ko chen ari gi ta ga sinang wa da dindegi sushi do chi che ani di chires la gor bom di kangjun yu re la gor okay ta khande indirectly message karteng osna kyan zo shu shi lo ga chen nganjur dinde yo tas la chirwa so khande tyong orte di latta ches dinde thone critics din chui khala osna it was unnecessary to throw the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But then whatever the reasons may be khanda to the kasa tunda khari mo khari imbarjina digi ani khari cheres la orajina I think I'm getting some messages this should allo I think I'm hearing some messages. Let me just check. Okay, so whatever the reasons may be rwa ani digi ta khanda khari tyongors lawra jinarwa ani digi jumzel te che ta kharsna arms restriction bu pedro okay ni ja chi gi la ngamtra ke cherwa ta phaju de la Hiroshima Nagasaki la bomb use hadirwa nuclear power diga se ha ko cha Soviet kita ngamra ki tile ki mangasu ta korani ja phazurwa so it led to a huge whatever the reasons may be for throwing or for dropping the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki but then it led to a huge arms race okay both the countries they started spending huge amount of money to build up the nuclear power okay because both of them they wanted to be more powerful than the other so this Mazukazan line called was a competition between the military competition get rest so the tosung chimbu huge tang weg thoni ani guning je paral arms race pe misi shukshin bullet okay ta arms race shukshin pe ler te yine ge ra ma lang ru best na ta arms race la di ra ta lakcha shu bom chikil nuclear bombs ne chemba di dileshina sa su yine ge tanda ma chung yo marwa ma chung mo go weg gyumzen di khari gang thuk dersan it's because of the logic of deterrence di ki gyumzel teni thanda pudma lang yo mare chena ta logic of deterrence na khal la gore chidang gi chik deter la to ati stop la gorta okay ta logic la na tatup la ruwa ani kaya gi tatup khari kaya gi tatup ma kaya gi tatup la gor ti ma kaya gi tatup it's an ideology started by these two power blocks kunjuni power tadu di wala kharla gosana ro nija gi ani kanda ma gya go mare kaisa lak ma tak under this logic of deterrence ro di kunju logic of deterrence di gi wola an kharla gosana kesi kiran ju gi nganju la ma gya ga chinra nganju gi dasal le gi nibadi ro nibadi gi thon khanza kiran gi phajo takta siksi suye gi nganju la niba yes la jro dinde gi thone kanda ro ma dinde go chu ga china ro ani pet khora khanda ma shorngi inare thomni inare khanda nija ma chik la kaptela ta kanda destruction yue barwa but then thanda destruction dile shena cha yur guys na both of them they possess such deadly nuclear weapons that if the earth if you wage war against us, then we will be able to retaliate and then will destroy you so badly that in the process of this war both the parties will be completely destroyed. Okay, and that Kurangija ropet kora destroy chada maja chajero ani su top email ta shira lama toji chidang ma di tobre laga chine gerwa ya topne twes keyo ma phesna tobe top ma tobre laga chine ma chine di para dere ya destruction shuji ani shukshimbu cha khanza destruction di cheden chetaje phe so khanje phe kore yo mare dinde dela kharza di ki ani tadrup di ki wol ya ta kisi nganju ma gya wara jine ta nganju ma gya wara na phajo di gi ani manjul ya chu rangja ani lembuloya di ta lembuloya gi nyuba ta toshuk di shukchimbu shiuye gi gyumjel teni kisi ngazu topne gi ngazu keben khai ra yo mares tila ta ngazu ma gena yakshori la jorwa o di ta tup del khalos na logic of deterrence henswa the logic of deterrence di wala kyanzu semna kharsha na logic of deterrence la kaptel it is avoidance of hot wars. Okay, ma gegi yo mare ma ge gyumjen kharsla na ma ji gojuga china phajo del ya retaliate lembuloya gi nyuba capacity di nijar yor so both has capacity to retaliate. Okay, niche chisa dinde nyuba yobe gi gyumjen tene kesi ma gyaga china both will be completely destroyed. Okay, the both will be completely destroyed nijar pet khorcha me rule laswa di gala ma la be kap del ya khare pet khora nita pet toson chimbu shiujura nuclear weapons su khatchu gongte or amo toson peshuk chimbu ruwa so the cost is too high. Okay, pet khora shiuji toson chimbu du ye wetne ki ma di nanglo ruwa su khanji pen thoya yo mare pen da thoya phasha ruwa su top ma top dik it's very difficult to differentiate who is the winner and who is the loser because in the process of war both of the parties will be completely destroyed. Okay, so that is called the logic of deterrence. Just the third di wola ani masu kanji gam new yo mare. Okay, gam manuza konju gi khari chigosna ani logic of restraint, logic of deterrence la ma ta phaju gi dasheleng gi nibo shukchimbu dagranshi yobe chame tang gi nibo di yoba gi song zani je ma gi yo marsla do. Chesa di gi wo di ha khobe gi gyumjen la teche an konju gi logic of restraint na ani ma di so gi ro ta kan da chhe sungche. Okay, logic of restraint di adopt chig. So the logic of deterrence the logic of restraint digi khari lagosana ma gegi yo marta ma gya yo marte hineke ani kuni ni para la the rivalry ge yorwa khasa maga egi namju jorwa ti larves la yo mare it's still there. Okay, logic of deterrence digi ma ki rivalry la chu yo marte ne ma gegi yo mare khaisina because they know the destruction that is going to happen. Dinde is not thangi shuwa na shingi konjugi chösunge so girwa control chije. So that is called logic of restraint. Okay, controlling themselves. So gi tanda ma goma ju egi so phajo chuju nije control chigor. Ta ine control chigi yone gerwa nije khari go chugor sana anjugi khajo ma ju khajo control chine gerwa. Ine ma nga ma ji ta yongsi despite controlling despite the logic of restraint a war is possible. It might happen anytime. Magic yung serious ta dinde ki magic go chuga china ta khachu ki any destruction guti ma go chugo orwa thank you sai logic of deterrence ki wala ta chame swegi ta kasang khankajin na thank arms restriction bu pedwa ta khari chigin be ta khachi sana an konji arms control treaties an konji ta dinde china ma go chu intin dila ta ngazu khachi usana ta ngazu ki logic of deterrence de ha khobe gyumje na tene ngazu ki logic of restraint ngazu ta control chigres in control chiga chinege but then it is possible to it is possible for a war to start. Okay, so then if a war starts then because of all this arms race okay the destruction will be so bad. So other option is let us collaborate. Just Quran nije pa to collaborate chiwek tone and arms control treaties mangu shiwcha. Ta kensa rosta yorta cho thambo deria arms race ra lakcha shiu mangu se 다 수사회 제가 양코 control cheye de ken out of the year, but then somehow it led the logic of restraint also led it led to the collaboration, and then it led to certain arms control treaties. Okay, the idea of logic of deterrence, and the fact that despite the logic of restraint, the possibility of war led to the collaboration of these two superpowers, which ultimately led to these arms control treaties. Arms control treaties, we have got Limited Test Ban Treaty, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, SALT 1 and SALT 2, and START 1 and START 2. Okay, that the trick is to read the words carefully, because what is this treaty about? It is already there in the full form in the words itself. For example, Limited Test Ban Treaty ladwa. The treaty di khare, it's a treaty. Chingi res. Chingi di khare ban cheyagal res. Kaktum cheyadwa. Khare kaktum cheyala test. Okay, that test la nuclear weapon test. Chazan the treaty the limited to the ban ta ani kaktum cheyada and da na shingi ta samjo cheyade. Limited and ban. It's a treaty on the limitation and banning of the test. Khari ki test. Oh, the test la na the nuclear weapon yimbarwa. So it's a it's very, if you remember, if you read these words carefully, if you know the full form of this abbreviation LTPT, then it should be very easy for you to remember. Okay? 1963 la sharwa. And of course, it was signed by United States, UK, USSR in Moscow on 5th August 1963. Chaswa. As per this treaty di nuclear test di ani nuclear testing di ban chigdwa, testing di khawala ban chigorsana, testing thamala gomarta. As per this treaty ginanglola, outer space the underwater diningila ani nuclear test chichu mes. So this LGBT talks about the banning of tests only in outer space and underwater. Okay, not otherwise. The next one we have is a Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Now, this is interesting. It was signed in 1967. The nuclear test in 1965, skipara the lungba mangbo shiuji nuclear test chigorwa. So the nuclear test chiwe kap delia ani the USA, the USSR kuningi kiya leche kunjugi in kachisna ta Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty chi suyokodusla. Proliferate lana ta chik koran kya chik go chunarwa, and it's very easy to remember and know what it is all about. Proliferate lana mawa suyo lairwa. That's the non-proliferate lana mawa masuwa. It's the opposite of proliferation. Okay, so the treaty di wal khari mawa masuwa nuclear weapons. Pesmisika sewudwa. So the treaty di under this treaty di khala was treaty di wal ya ta lakcha di mangro mata echedulia and khala resana nuclear states chikpu chiki nuclear weapon nya chugu yus timengi and shemba su kanji nya chugu me slar. Hence, under this treaty, only those nuclear, if you are a nuclear weapon state, okay, then you can keep nuclear weapons. Otherwise, if you are not a nuclear weapon state, then nuclear weapon nyachu yo marislar. Tatila di ratiwang yewang az khalle gore. Chena nuclear weapon state lana ya khande chilre. Who are all the nuclear weapon states? Tiwa di leadwa. Chesa, the next question is, if this treaty is talking about only allowing all the nuclear states to have nuclear weapons, then who is a nuclear weapon state? As per this treaty this is when she was a nuclear weapon state kandiji lagosna kesi lungba chiki and nuclear weapon sewache yana explode 1967 1st January gi kongla suegyo da yana explode che yuna and the nuclear weapon state chigor. So she's a digi wall a deshe digi wall. As per this explanation, Lumbanga Shumar, nuclear weapon state. The Lumbanga the Surislana, Britain, France, Russia, China, United States. Kuzunga Mashumar. That 3D wall door, 3D wall kalosna, Kuzunga Lumbanga Chiku Chigra and nuclear weapon the Nyachu use. The Ming Lunga, Dimahimi Lunga Chimasungas Nyachu mes la war. Dila di kyaga gita di nawa cheto yamar kyaga gita di sai ko kya yamar kasina di the pet corrupt discriminatory racials kas nuclear koran zu laksa yenge din zu gi ya yogyo zu meo su yila na legdo odiri ke ko la yamar ta keso yang koran zu gi meo su yila ne digdo ti de la yamar nuclear weapon state yogyo di ke koran zu nya ya che ti mengi sawa di ke la nya chu mes la war. So that is of course a very, very discriminatory treaty ra di indu ani kyaga gi sai nuclear proliferation treaty badal thanda badal kya say kya hai hence okay, next we have is the strategic arms limitation talks, that is SALT 1 and SALT 2. SALT 1 and SALT 2 di tanda ta arms limit chedil re wa arms limitation di walia kunju gi SALT 1 gi wala pension anti ballistic missile ABMs le wa ti sukchum budin zo di zo anti ballistic dige di limit chia ta and da na shingi tanda offensive arms dige di limit chia di ga ya kunju gi sai kya bure and da na shingi strategic arms 2 di ani strategic offensive arms di ga ya 1971 la kya dwa di che. And of course these two treaties were signed between Soviet and United States. Okay, then we have the START 1 and START 2. The START 1 and START 2 the START 1 and START 2 was signed in 1991 and 1993, and this talks about this treaty is about the reduction of strategic offensive arms. Okay, those chiche, and of course it was signed by Soviet and United States. The those chiche roani tiringi top di roje ngazu thari topic karsan thamuni alliance system se jaimba chesa alliance system di ani lungba thanda alliance system dinju ani khari pact khari consolidate chiyor pencha USA ina NATO NATO central gi consolidate chiyor wa USSR ina ani kunjugi warsaw suyudwa. And then the dropping of Hiroshima and dropping of bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it led to the arms race. And this arms race ki ani ngaju kharchesana arms race di ki yorte ine ki it never actually led to there was never a hot war. Why? Because of the logic of deterrence. Okay, ani logic of deterrence yorte ine ki logic of deterrence ta di gumjelte je ngaju thanda control, restraint, logic of restraint atop chigo, but still, there was always a possibility of war, which led to various arms treaties. Okay, LTPT, NPT, SALT 1, SALT 2, and START 1, START 2. The treaty dige chazan cancel locked up now, so you can always have a look at your textbook. Okay, so today's topic is just this much. Okay, the